Okay, this is going to be a soldering demonstration to go through the 6 steps of soldering. So the first step is that you need to make sure your joint is fit so that it rests without air gaps. So I'm going to be doing an L solder. So I'm basically soldering these 2 pieces together. Let's see if I can zoom in to show you. Looks like it's resting fairly flat. I'm gonna adjust it a little bit, but I'm gonna wait on that because I have to do the second step anyways. So second step is cleaning the joint. So cleaning is just removing any dirts or oxides off of the surface. If you're repeating soldering, sometimes that's letting it sit in a pickle for a little bit and then cleaning it up. So I've sanded both surfaces. I'm doing the best I can not to use my hands to touch those 2 places, and I'm using my propping tool to rest that up again. Okay, so step 1, fit the joint. Step 2, clean the metal. Step 3 is flex our sad flux container here. So I'm going to lightly add my liquid flux along there. That happens sometimes. I tell you, metals teaches you patience. All right, third step is going to be solder placement. So I'm going to show you chipping up the solder. So I'm gonna move my camera, give me 1 second. Okay, step 3 is chipping our solder. So remember, there are 3 different temperatures for solder. So this one is my hard solder. If I'm doing multiple steps, I need to start with hard solder. There's also medium solder. Right now, I only have this temperature in sheets, so it's a little different to chip up. And then finally, we have easy solder. So I'm going to work today with hard solder. So one thing I'll check for is I'll kind of clean off this particular holding cup to make sure it doesn't have debris, or other temperature solders, I don't remember what they are. And that's okay. I'm just gonna dump that on the ground, shake that off, get rid of it. So we only try to chip up what we think we're gonna need so we're not wasting a little bit. These little chips are called pallions. And if you remember, you really don't need a lot of solder. So you can take a look at the size of those. They're 1 to 3 millimeters long, pretty small. Okay, so now that we've chipped up our solder, we're ready to complete step 3 and do our solder placement. Let's see if my camera's lined up good here. Hold on, I'm gonna move my camera again. Okay, solder placement for step 3. Get a pair of tweezers. Pick up my chips. Oops, look at that. One's already disappeared on me. All right, take 2 here with solder placement. So I'm just gonna drop off 3 pieces of my pallion chips, and then I will move those. I like to move them right in line with the joint. That helps when it melts to follow that joint so I get a nice clean solder line. So step 3 is complete, my solder placement. Now, that's the fun part, we get to add heat. So I'm gonna turn on my hoses. So my gas line's on, my air line's on. I'm gonna turn my gas on first. Oh. Use my flint. Alright. Looks good. Alright, so remember, when we start heating our metal, we are thinking of bullseye. So I am starting to the outside of my metal. If you notice, I'm kind of even focusing on preheating the stone. Constantly moving smooth, circular directions. Now, I notice some flickering that's happening on my metal as that flux starts to heat off. And one of my pieces of solder kind of bounced. So I'm going to see if I can just gently tuck that. Sometimes that's a dangerous thing to do because you can get knock off your setup. So I'm going to start coming in a little bit. Now I'm starting to go around and just touch the edges of my metal. As you're heating, you're using the hottest point of the flame. So if you notice, I can see the tip of my flame and it's just touching that metal. I'm watching the surface color of the metal and I'm noticing that it's darkening. And in some circumstances, like right down here, it's turning bright orange. But I need to bring both pieces of metal to temperature. So since this is my larger piece down here, I'm going to focus a little bit more of my heat down in the bottom part. Always moving that flame. Seems like I'm getting close. A little bit of movement with melting. I'm gonna turn my heat up a little bit. There we go. Now it's melting all along that line. This little section down here. Oh, now I got it all the way through. Looks good. Turn off my heat. Grab my copper tongs. And this is ready to go quench in the pickle bucket.